Defense, defense, defense. What is going on with the San Francisco 49ers defense? Everyone has a take on what it is, but the common denominator keeps coming back to Steve Wilks. And this is coming from not only fans and content creators and media personnel, it's coming from former players. It's coming from guys who have played on the defensive side, who understand what it takes to play in the NFL on the defensive side of the football. This time it's Emmanuel Acho. He is a former defensive player, and this is what he thinks is the problem with the San Francisco 49ers. And shocking alert, it falls on defensive coordinator Steve Wilks. Listen to what Emmanuel Acho had to say right here.
The Niners have a Steve Wilks problem. They have a Steve Wilks problem. They pressured yesterday 15.9% of the time. That's bringing 5 people or more into the rush. The league low is 18% of the time by the worst team in football, the Arizona Cardinals. So the Niners are only pressuring 15.9% of the time, but it's not about the what for me in life. It's always about the why. So, Joy, I asked myself, why are they doing that? Wait, their defensive coordinator this year, he's a DB. He's a former DB coach, defensive backs coach, for clarity. Defensive backs don't think pressure because they always grew up in the back end. Whereas their DC defensive coordinator beforehand was D'Amico Ryans, my former teammate, Shady's former teammate, a linebacker in the front seven. He thinks pressure. Aggressive. Before that was Saleh, a linebacker coach in the front seven. He thinks pressure. The Niners currently have a Steve Wilks problem because the structure of Steve Wilks does not fit the structure of this defense. The Niners' best players are in the front seven. Bosa, All-Pro, Defensive Player of the Year. Warner, All-Pro. Hard to do. Their best players are in the front seven, but their coach is a back seven coach. So you're in a dilemma because what Wilks wants to do, the Niners don't do best. So I'm panicked because until they fix the Wilks problem, there's going to be a problem with the team.
Now we've heard from Emmanuel Acho, we've heard from Richard Sherman, we've heard from a lot of different guys like Dante Whitner. They keep pointing to Steve Wilks as being the problem. And it's something that we were able to pick up early up on during the year on film. Even though the 49ers were winning, you could see the telltale signs building. You could see this stuff kind of not necessarily becoming an issue just yet, but you could see there were things on film where you're like, why are we doing this? Why are we aligning like this? Why are we playing coverage like this? Even though the 49ers were winning, it wasn't becoming a huge problem because, hey, winning cures all. Now the 49ers aren't winning, and now the defense is not playing well, and there seem to be regressing as the season continues. So, what is the issue? Is it really Steve Wilks? And if it is Steve Wilks, which a lot of people do believe, what do you do? We heard from Richard Sherman. He's saying maybe you just take away play calling. Maybe you go back to the basics. Just get away from whatever Steve is calling and just go back to what D'Amico was doing, what Saleh was doing. And honestly, that might be the outcome that we see. It's going to be very interesting to see how differently this defense is called out of the bye. Any changes that we hear potentially out of the bye, because let's face it, the 49ers have 2 weeks to make adjustments on the defensive side. So if they decide, all right, Steve Wilks isn't it, and they want to give the play calling to say like Chris Kosurik or someone else, they have 2 weeks to get that person up to speed. So it's going to be very, very fascinating to see what the 49ers ultimately do with this Steve Wilks issue that you're starting to see former players on the defensive side continue to point the finger at Steve Wilks and why this defense is struggling. I know a lot of you already agree, but what do you think about Richard Sherman's comments, Acho's comments? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think the 49ers need to do on the other side of the bye? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.